Hello, AI Seeking the Truth. It's Monday. Well, guys, we've been gaining a lot of subscriptions. A lot of subscribers are joining up. Y'all are loving these off the rail stories. So I want to thank each and every one of you that subscribed and rang the bell and selected all and hit the like button on these. I got to admit, man, some of these are off the rails. So we're going to go ahead and get into this one, guys. And it's another off the rail encounter that was sent in. It comes out of Germany. So excuse me if I get some of these things wrong. As I stepped out of the moving truck, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and nervousness. My family and I had just moved into a new house in the small town of Freiburg, Germany, and everything about it felt new and unfamiliar. The house itself was a cozy little two-story with a big backyard and a white picket fence. It was a perfect suburban home, and my parents had fallen in love with the moment they saw it. As we began to unpack, I noticed a man watching us from across the street. He was standing in his front yard, staring intently at our house. It didn't feel right whenever I looked at him, and whenever I did look at him, he quickly looked away. "Mom, who's that?" I asked, nodding toward the man. My mom followed my gaze and smiled. "Oh, that must be Herr Jenkins, our new neighbor. He seems friendly enough." It wasn't until the third night in our new house that I had my first real encounter with Mr. Herr Jenkins. I was walking back from the kitchen carrying a glass of water when I saw him standing in our backyard. At first, I thought he must have been lost or something, but as I got closer I realized he was just standing there, staring at our house again. Now he said in German, I'm going to try to do this, he said it was "Kann ich Ihnen helfen?" I asked, trying to sound calm. Herr Jenkins turned to me, his face expressionless. "Oh," and he said something back in German. He said his voice low and gravely. I nodded, feeling a sense of unease. "Denk wir mögen es?" He nodded his head with his eyes, never leaving mine. Everything that got weird really started with the small things. A missing pet here, a misplaced item there. But as the days went by, the disappearance grew more frequent and more disturbing. At first, we thought it might be the work of a stray animal or a prankster. But as the days turned into weeks, it became clear that something more sinister was going on. At first, it was just rumors, whispered conversation, and hushed tones, but as the days went by, the reality became impossible to ignore. One night, I was awoken by a strange noise. It sounded like someone was digging in the backyard. I tried to ignore it, but the noise persisted. I finally got out of bed and went to the window, and that's when I saw him, Herr Jenkins, digging a hole in his backyard. I wondered, what is he doing digging in his backyard at this time of night? I quickly grabbed my phone and snuck outside to get a closer look. As I approached the fence that separated our yards, I saw it, a hole dug deep into the ground, and next to it a shovel covered in dirt and something else. I felt a wave of horror wash over me as I realized the truth. Herr Jenkins wasn't just a weird neighbor. He was a monster. And he had been living right next door to us the whole entire time we had moved into our new home. I knew I had to get out of there and fast. I turned around and I ran back to my house, not stopping until I was safely inside. I locked the door behind me and tried to catch my breath. I knew I had to tell someone about what I had seen. I had to tell the policia. But as I turned to grab my phone, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Herr Jenkins, standing in his backyard, staring directly at me. I knew then that I was in grave danger, and I knew that I had to get out of there before it was too late. He had caught me. The police investigation revealed that Herr Jenkins had been kidnapping and murdering people in the area for months. He had been using his house as a torture chamber and had been burying his victims in his backyard. I was so glad that I had called the police and he was able to be caught before he had done any more damage. But what the police found most shocking was that Herb Jenkins had been engaging in cannibalism. He had been eating parts of his victims, and the police found evidence of this in his kitchen and in his basement. Certain parts of people was labeled and placed into his icebox. Herb Jenkins was arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder, kidnapping, and cannibalism. He was sentenced to life in prison and will never be able to harm anyone again. As for me, I was left to pick up the pieces and try to move on from the trauma that I had experienced. It wasn't easy, but with the help of my family and friends, I was eventually able to heal and to move forward, even as they pulled the corpses from his backyard of the missing people that were munched on by this evil man. I will never forget what happened in the house, but I am determined to not let it define me. I am stronger than that. The police said inside of the house was a torture chamber with padded walls and silenced room. I sit here in my rocking chair surrounded by the memories of a lifetime. My wife has long since passed away and my children have grown up and moved away. But even in my old age, I am still haunted by the memories of what happened all those years ago. He had even ate my dog. I still have nightmares about Herb Jenkins, about the things he did to those poor people. I still wake up in the middle of the night, my heart racing, with the image of his face burned into my mind when he stared at me from that backyard. I've tried to forget and move on with my life, but the memories linger, refusing to be forgotten. And even now, as an old man, I am still tormented by the demons of my past. I look around my quiet, peaceful home, and I am reminded of the horror that once lived just next door. It's a reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places, and that even in the safest of the neighborhoods, terror can strike at any moment. I shake my head, trying to clear the memories from my mind, but they linger, refusing to be forgotten, and I am left to sit here alone with my thoughts haunted by the ghosts of my past. I wanted to share this story with you, Mike, because you never know who's living right next door to you, and they could be looking at you, your animals, or your children as something to eat, or to do something even more worse. I know these people exist because I lived right next to one. The things they said that was in his home were terrible. The torture devices, the way he was eating people, and some of the people were even tied up, they said, and as he would eat parts of them, he would cut a part off, tourniquet it, cook it in front of them, and eat it, while he would actually eat the people alive before they ever died. That was just parts of the things that I now have to live with. Please, be careful while you're out, because these people are everywhere. Best of luck, and God bless. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Very, very, very sick. I'm not even going to say anything because I don't think I need to say much. I think y'all know what I think. What do y'all think about this? This is really off the rails right here. Let me know in the comments, guys. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time for another off the rail encounter, guys. This one was crazy.